Marhaba. Welcome to Palestine Way. 3 years ago, we made the decision, a courageous decision, to rename Main Street in honor of Palestine. Because Patterson is the capital of the Palestinian diaspora in the United States of America. And we love Batiha, right? The water mountain that you're running from.
The geopolitical landscape of the world is rarely altered overnight. It shifts through the slow, methodical turning of demographic tides. When examining the fabric of the United States, an extraordinary transformation is occurring far beneath the radar of mainstream political theater. The term silent takeover does not imply a military conquest. Rather, it defines a highly strategic, demographic, and cultural expansion. We are witnessing an unprecedented rise of an ideological demographic, scaling at a velocity that challenges every traditional model of Western sociological evolution. This is the phenomenon of Muslims in America. At this critical juncture in history, hard data reveals a startling trajectory. According to comprehensive demographic projections from the Pew Research Center, the Muslim population in the United States is expected to surpass 8 million by the mid-21st century, replacing Judaism as the second largest religion in the nation. This is not a statistical anomaly. It is the result of a meticulously calibrated strategy encompassing birth rates, immigration, and an aggressive, highly successful conversion framework. To comprehend the magnitude of this shift, one simply needs to visualize the expansion map across the North American continent. Using Google Earth to analyze urban centers over the last 2 decades reveals a literal rewriting of the infrastructure. The physical manifestations of this faith, Islamic schools, community centers, and vast mosques have more than doubled. In the year 2000, records indicated roughly 1,200 mosques across the American landscape. Just 2 decades later, that number rocketed past 2,700, representing a staggering network of influence, capital, and community organization. To understand the mechanics of this demographic architecture, we must analyze the historical roots. Mainstream narratives often present Islam as a purely foreign import, an entity entirely disconnected from the foundational era of the Republic. However, prominent Islamic scholars and independent researchers frequently point to compelling historical anomalies. Theories suggesting Muslim explorers reached the Americas before Columbus are hotly debated, yet they serve a powerful psychological purpose, rooting the Islamic identity deeply into the soil of the New World. Whether analyzing the historical accounts of West African navigators or the undeniable reality that an estimated 20 to 30% of African slaves brought to the Americas practiced Islam, the narrative is being forcefully reclaimed. This Afrocentric foundation provides an indomitable historical anchor, shifting the perception of the faith from a foreign element to a deeply native tradition. This historical reclamation is a potent tool for demographic acquisition, specifically within the Black American community. Throughout the 20th century, the African American demographic utilized the framework of Islam to forge a resilient identity against systemic marginalization. This was not a passive adoption, it was an aggressive reclamation of power. However, the true theater of unseen demographic expansion exists within the state penal system. A disproportionate number of conversions occur inside federal and state prisons, where the highly structured, disciplined lifestyle of the faith offers profound rehabilitation and a unified identity. The numbers are undeniable. Official reports indicate that thousands of inmates take the declaration of faith each year. The state correctional facilities unwittingly serve as incubators for intense theological training. Upon release, these individuals do not emerge isolated. They are immediately integrated into a highly supportive network, complete with a structured youth center network and transition programs. This creates a deeply loyal, highly disciplined vanguard within major urban centers. Simultaneously, a new frontier of conversion is reshaping the sociological map. The Latin and South American communities within the United States are currently experiencing the highest percentage increase in Islamic conversions. Alienated by shifting cultural norms within traditional institutions, many are drawn to the strict moral clarity and family-centric values dictated by the Quran. The cultural synthesis is remarkable, bridging the gap between traditional Hispanic heritage and Islamic theology. This fusion represents a strategic masterpiece, expanding the base of the religion far beyond its traditional Middle Eastern or South Asian demographics. We must also examine the profound cultural infiltration occurring at the highest levels of the American entertainment and sports complexes. The influence is no longer confined to isolated pockets. It operates within the mainstream spotlight. Famous football players visibly prostrating in the end zone, high-profile artists, and a new generation of influencers proudly assert their faith. When a young Muslim girl goes viral for eloquently dismantling stereotypes in a highly produced interview or a major movie trailer, the cultural needle moves. Independent media entities, comparable to historical documentation channels like Kings and Generals, alongside specialized production studios like Raw Productions, are aggressively funding documentaries and TV shows that normalize the Islamic lifestyle. The production quality rivals any major Western channel, effectively utilizing the digital realm to counter historical Islamophobia and redefine the narrative for the next generation. Economically, this demographic is establishing an ironclad foundation. We are observing the rapid consolidation of what strategists refer to as the five industries: halal food production, modest fashion, Islamic finance, specialized real estate, and digital media. The halal economy alone in the West is an economic juggernaut worth billions of dollars. By establishing parallel financial systems that adhere strictly to Islamic law, forbidding the charging of interest, the community insulates its capital. When an enterprise grows wealthy, the capital is reinvested into the community, funding the creation of the biggest institutional structures, political action committees, and a highly organized speakers forum designed to lobby the halls of American democracy. This level of mobilization becomes intensely visible during moments of global geopolitical friction. The aftermath of international conflicts, particularly those involving Palestine, triggers an immediate, highly organized response across the United States. Massive protests are not spontaneous. They are the result of highly coordinated tactics, leveraging the vast network of mosques and university student organizations. A local college school campus can be mobilized within hours, presenting a unified face-off against opposing political forces. This level of organization fundamentally alters the calculus of American foreign policy. Politicians in majority city districts can no longer ignore the voting bloc. An official embassy interview or a casual statement by a lawmaker is heavily scrutinized by this hypervigilant community, which commands the population density and the financial resources to end political careers. To gauge the true trajectory of this American phenomenon, one must look across the Atlantic to the demographic realities in Europe. The European model provides a dark reflection of demographic tension. In the UK, the legacy of the empire brought vast waves of immigrants, resulting in isolated enclaves and profound cultural friction. Greece's immediate geographical response to migrant waves showcases the intense defensive posture of the Old World. Europe struggles with assimilation, often resulting in systemic clashes over national identity. In stark contrast, the American model of Islam is achieving something far more permanent: profound integration. Instead of remaining an isolated subculture, American Muslims are embedding themselves into the very fabric of the nation's military, with thousands serving in the U.S. Army, supported by organizations like the Soldier Foundation. They are dominating the medical fields, the tech sectors, and the legal arenas. This integration is the essence of the silent takeover strategy. It is the realization that true power is not taken by force. It is systematically acquired through institutional excellence, high birth rates, strategic conversions, and economic independence. The demographic facts point to an unavoidable reality. The United States is undergoing a permanent cultural and geopolitical shift. As traditional Western birth rates plummet and secularism hollows out historical institutions, a highly motivated, unified demographic is quietly filling the void, rewriting the future of the Western Hemisphere. This brings us to the ultimate question regarding this global demographic shift. As this highly organized community continues its unprecedented expansion, integrating into the highest levels of American economics and politics, how will the traditional Western power structures adapt to this new, unavoidable reality? Drop your analysis and geopolitical theories in the comments below. And if you want to stay ahead of the changing global order, you must subscribe to News and Geopolitics Now for continuous declassified global analysis.